What's up, y'all? So I've been on the YouTube world or in the YouTube world since July. Um, my name is Christian Winters. I know some of you have watched my videos and some of you haven't. But I started something called the Dear Brother Podcast. And today is a special day. Today is my birthday. It's my 45th birthday. And I think the greatest thing I can say today at 45 is that losing is better than winning. Yeah, that sounds crazy, but losing is better than winning. That's what I learned in 45 years. I've learned that losing is better than winning. And I guess my gift to you all on my birthday is to talk about um, losses, man. Is to talk about losses because in every loss I took, it was a transition to something better, even if I couldn't see it. So, it's transition, man. It's transition. I Today is my 45th birthday, but it makes me consider my 40th birthday. And when I think about my 40th, man, I had just retired. It was 2019. I retired from pastoring after 27 years, right? After 27 years, I retired from pastoring and missionary work around the world. And I was consumed with that life. That was my life. That was my life from 14 years old. I had started teaching at 14 years old, all around, everywhere. I was like a child prodigy. And those years were fun and confusing. I had a gift that God was using. And after 27 years, man, of doing this, something told me walk away. Walk away from everything you know. It was the greatest transition that I had ever experienced in my life. Walk away. Walk away. And what do you mean walk away? When God told me to walk away from everything, to what? I guess that was my question. Like, okay, if I walk away from everything I know, where am I going? And that's when I found out, man, that walking in the dark is a faith move, and walking in the dark is believing in yourself and your God. But it was still dark. It was still scary. I had started 9 churches around the country. I had traveled around the world teaching, and my identity was wrapped up in what I did. My identity was wrapped up in what I did. And I realized from after teaching since 14 and being responsible for people's lives, 14, 15, 16, when you should be a kid, people were treating me like an adult. I remember adults asking me for advice. I was 16, 17 because of how they saw me. It was a need for my gifting. And I used my gift, man, to bless the world. But I spent a lot of years forgetting about myself. And that's why even though today is 45, it makes me think of 40. Again, because that was the year 2019 I retired. I left everything, you know. And before I left everything, I was on dialysis. I couldn't believe it to be in my late 30s on dialysis after I had served the world, and I thought God was crushing me. But what God was really trying to do was transition me. And I believe that for a lot of you that are going through certain struggles right now, that God is really trying to transition you to something better. Sometimes it's in letting go of what you're familiar with, man, to that will really take you to different places in life. Is letting go. It's what you lose. This world system says gain, gain, gain. What can I get? What can I obtain? But I got a different message today, man. And I'm not saying the message of obtain is not good. What I'm saying is a lot of times when you lose your props, when the cars are gone and the homes are gone and all the stuff you worked so hard for, you find out that the greatest thing you need to work harder for is yourself and your appreciation of yourself and your embrace of yourself, man. As men, it's so many responsibilities we have. I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I'm in a relationship. I got a lot of things. I'm trying to build a podcast and write books and all these things. And all these things are great, man. But don't ever forget about you. Don't ever forget about you and what matters to you. And the first thing is that you got to matter to you. I didn't matter to me for many years, man. I didn't matter to me for many years. I didn't think about myself. I remember one time I went to counseling and the counselor said, after listening to me for about 45 minutes, he said, you know what? You're a great guy, but you don't give a damn about yourself. I said, wow. And all I could say in that moment was true. I don't. I don't. As much as I think I felt like caring for other people. If I cared for other people, that was caring for me. And I found out that all my care for other people and all I was giving to other people, it never satisfied me. It made me feel good to see them do good, but I was forgetting about myself. And I think when the Lord told me to retire from and leave everything I had worked on building for 27 years of my life, it was such a shock because I thought that that's what was going to satisfy me. And I found out that it wouldn't. I thought God was crazy to tell me to walk away from everything. That was telling me to walk away from my identity. But then I learned that sometimes you got to walk away from things that you do that you thought you were, because really the real journey is to find you, not your skills, not what you can do for everybody else, not what you can do for your wife or your children, not what you can do with all your duties and responsibilities as a man. But I went on a journey to find myself, man. It felt like almost like when Michael Jordan played for the Bulls was 23, number 23, Mike Jordan. And then, it was almost like he couldn't give up the limelight. So he wound up putting on, I believe, number 45 and playing for the Washington Wizards at the time. Sometimes when you don't know how to just go and be and attach to yourself again, leaving what you built or leaving what people applaud and to find yourself. Because sometimes as men, man, we can hide behind the applause of what we do for people or how we make people feel. But it's that man in the mirror, man, that really counts. Can you applaud you? I couldn't applaud me for very many years, even though I was applauded by so many people. I didn't applaud me. I didn't feel good about myself. And really the gift, man, the greatest birthday gift or any gift, transition gift you can give to yourself is to really embrace you and not see yourself in this slave mentality that's all about what you do for others that makes you valuable. I think the capstone to turning 45 was I found out that the thing that makes me valuable is me. It's me. It's knowing me. It's embracing me. It's embracing my flaws. It's embracing the good parts of me and the tougher parts of me, right? It's loving me while working on me. It's sometimes it's not even working on me. Sometimes it's accepting that that's the way I am in certain areas of my life. The greatest thing I can give myself for my birthday, man, was to get off my own back and accept myself for who I am. But I got this kidney transplant at 40 years old in the year 2020, the pandemic year, when everything had changed and everything went crazy. Here I was getting new life at the beginning of the pandemic. And so I went from having everything to losing everything. And then I get this kidney and it's like God was giving me my life. He was giving me my life back, right? Not for what I could do for people. It was almost like, look, I'm giving you a new life and I want you to use this energy for you and your family. Not for everybody else, not to write another book or to travel another place or establish another church. I want you to leave everything you know, and go on a journey to find you. And so I did. Right. And after I got this kidney, I'm like, all right, God gave me a new life. I'm off dialysis, man. I'm going to live now. And the first thing I did, y'all, which tells you where my mentality still was, I said, I got a kidney now. I can go serve more people. Even though God had just told me, I'm going to give you new life. Use it for yourself. Because I was such a giver. I felt like being a man was taking care of everybody all the time. My mentality went straight back to what can I do for somebody? I had my kidney for 2 years, 2 years. And I had moved into this big house. I was like, oh, I finally made it. After all these years of serving the world and traveling and helping people and building this and building that, I can finally, I got my kidney. I got the house of my dreams and I'm good. I was 42 at this time. And I was full time all my life. God provided every dime for me. I lived by faith. Right. All my life, I lived by faith, took care of my family and everything. My faith was in God and my faith was in God then. And my faith is in God now. And then everything dried up. Business fell apart. No money was coming in. I looked up, y'all, it was May 15th, 2022, and I was homeless. I remember standing in that big giant house I thought was my dream house. And I had made it to this dream house. I thought, man, this is the pinnacle of life. I never dreamed that the Lord would have me in a position to lose everything that I had. I never dreamed that this would happen, especially after serving the world, serving everybody. I thought that I made it. I thought I had it. And everything went away, man. Everything went away in a moment. Boom, homeless. I remember standing over the kitchen sink and I had a panic attack. As many things that I've been through. I lost my mother, my father, my daughter in 4 years. I eulogize all of them, and I never lost it like I lost it over this sink, losing my house that day. It wasn't that the house was more important than my family. It was, I couldn't believe that I was about to lose everything and have nothing after I had served the world. I thought God was doing me dirty. In that moment, it felt like it. Like, dang, God. You know, it didn't stop my love for God, but I was very confused about, I thought that after you work this hard for people or go this far, that you would be blessed. I didn't understand that I was being blessed. I was being blessed by losing things I thought were important. All that stuff was more important than I was to myself. May 15th, 2022, after I emptied a 7-bedroom house by myself, I got in my car, which was a borrowed car, and I had to figure out where I was going to sleep that night. I wound up sleeping in a hospital parking lot. In fact, it was a cancer center parking lot. The only place I could think to go was the cancer center parking lot where my mom first got diagnosed. And I stayed there and I lived there. I lived there for months. I wound up getting COVID in that car, and I was and I had no money, and I just had like maybe a half a jug of water that I was getting from Wawa, you know. And I had $1 here, $3 here, $5 here, and it was like, man, this is insane. And I remember one night sitting back saying, I'm going to accept this. I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to accept this. I'm going to accept where I am. And I remember sitting back telling God, I've been everywhere with you. And you've been everywhere with me. We've gone around the world. We talked on the biggest stages. We helped everybody. I said, now, if you can be with me and show me how to be successful as a speaker, as a teacher, as an author, then show me how to be homeless. I remember this exact prayer, yo. Show me how to be homeless. And I sat back really, and a smile hit my face that night. And I felt like I was on another adventure with God. I accepted the transition, right? I remember after nights and nights and nights, I was like, man, I just want a bed to sleep in. You know, I just want a bed to sleep in and like a regular meal. And something said, pick up your phone. You know, I got very wealthy friends who could help me do anything, you know. And I knew that I was one phone call would have changed my life. I mean, I'm talking about literally somebody would have got me a house, an apartment, took care of me, got me a car and everything for all the people I served and all the people around me. And I remember sitting back and God said to me, don't call for a rescue. Don't call for a rescue. And I'm like, okay. And literally I said, okay, y'all, I didn't fight it or anything. I said, okay. I was learning in that moment to submit to where life was and change me instead of waiting for life to change me. And I sat there and I said, okay, I won't call anybody to help me. And it was in a bad way. And then I understood why I couldn't call nobody. Y'all, I remember the scripture years ago. I used to teach this when Jesus was on the cross and the people said to him, if you're really who you say you are, then come on down. Come on down. If you really think you are who you are, come on down off that cross. And I remember the old teachers in the church would say he didn't come down because he loved us. He didn't come down because he was on a mission. He could have called 10,000 angels to get him off that cross, but he didn't because he was on a mission. And I felt that same rule come over my life in that moment. Don't call for a rescue. Stay right here, face this thing, deal with it. And I want to say that to somebody. Somebody's in a tough way out there. You know, homeless, struggling, trying to figure it out, dealing with depression, suppression. Some of you out there scared, all kinds of stuff is man. You standing strong, but inside, man, you're dealing with trauma and brokenness, fear. right? And it's like you could just walk away from this thing, or you could just move on like it's not happening. But sometimes, man, you got to sit there and you got to face what you're going through as a man, not because it's trying to kill you, but it's trying to develop you into the kind of man that you want to be. Not what everybody else needed you to be, but the kind of man you want to be, and the man that God ordained you to be from the time you were born, man. But that took suffering. It took suffering, and it took obedience to suffering. Nobody wants to feel bad, man. Nobody wants to take these losses. But I'm going to tell you what I'm learning again on this 45th birthday of mine today is that the losses I took were the greatest gains I ever experienced in my life. It was what I lost. And I'm not talking about losing friends and all that. You know, we could talk about losing friends and bad relationships. I'm talking about getting to that point as a man where you start to accept losing the worst sides of yourself, where you start to really lose the sides of yourself that you depended on, that you don't really need to go and be the man you want to be in your future. Because there's some things as a man that brought you through certain phases of your life, but you don't need that man anymore. You don't need that side of you no more. You know, the side of you needed for the wilderness, to get through tough times, the side of you that you needed for bad moments, the side you needed to grow up the way you grew up. You know, some of you grew up rough and you needed to have that caveman mentality, that hustler's mentality to get through. But now you're in this midlife and it don't feel good like it used to. It don't fulfill you like it used to. Because when you get to a certain point of life, the only thing that's going to fulfill you is being you. The only thing that's going to fulfill you is being you. And I wanted to pause, man, on this birthday, and I wanted to just put a message out, man. That is what you're willing to lose that'll get you where you got to go. That's my birthday message to y'all. That is what you're willing to lose. That's what will get you where you got to go. I got that kidney, man, in 2020. I lost everything in 2022, right? And I thought God had lost his mind. But you know, I found out that he was really on my side. I learned something about myself in that car. I learned something about myself. I learned who I was without the support of people. I learned what I could do without the applause of people. I learned. And I think that's one of the biggest things the enemy is trying to take away from men today. He doesn't want us to learn anymore. He wants us to assume. He wants us to assume. He wants us to make rash decisions. He doesn't want us to think. He doesn't want us to think. He just wants us to assume. He doesn't want us to ponder ourselves. He doesn't want us to know ourselves. Because the scary thing about you knowing you is you might find out just how incredible you are. You might find out that you're more than what you suffered. You might find out that you're more than what you've gone through. You might find out, in fact, that what you've gone through has shaped you to be the man of your own dreams. You might find out that you're more awesome than what people said about you. You might find out that you're not what people thought about you. You might find out that you're more than you thought about you. But it's in transition that you learn that. Oh yeah, I took some losses, man, but I gained myself. I took some losses, been through divorce, took some losses, lost my family, man. And, you know, I'm talking about, you know, my kids and my daughter, my dad lost them. They died early. My dad was 59. Mom was 62. Daughter was 4 months. Losses I thought I couldn't make it back from, man. But I found out, man, that I had something in me that only losses would have showed me. Transition. Lean into the curves, man. Lean into the curves of life. Man, these tears has hit my eyes now, man. They're tears of joy because I learned something. I learned that the life that I went through strengthened me to start a podcast, to strengthen men. I'm not on this podcast because I know everything. I started the Dear Brother podcast because there's some things that I can share from my own tough experience. I want to love you guys through this computer. I want to support you through this computer. Eventually, I want to support you do conferences in person where I can help you, talk to you, give you that man hug and tell you, man, it's going to be all right. So happy birthday, man, to me. And then happy birthday to you. I'm not talking about the day of your birth. Because a birthday is the day you decide I'm going to lean into transition so I can become the man of my own dreams. You'll lose in transition, but you'll gain yourself. So lean in, bro. Lean in. I got a kidney now. I got a home now. I got a car now. My children are cool now. My kids in college now. My twins are turning 18. You know, life is good, but I know it's about to get even better. Because my prayer has been simple. God, give me influence to help as many men as I can. I love you, dude. Walk tall, stand strong, hang in there and know that you matter. And like I say on all my shows, man, no fear, no shame, no compromise. Hang in there. Visit my website, christianwonders.com. I do one-on-one counseling. I do group counseling. You want to book me to speak somewhere, I'll come. Also, man, you'll see right there, you'll see some ebooks available to you on my website, right? I just put them out maybe 2 weeks ago. One of them, removing the shame for some of you guys that battle with shame. The other one is overcoming fatigue for some of you that are mentally and emotionally tired. I want to be a resource. My goal in life now, man, is to be a voice to men and for men. Because men are suffering. But we're great at the same time. So keep transitioning, bro. Keep transitioning. You'll make it. I love you.